So this is going to be a 3-part mini series that I'm going to do on my channel, which is just how to get flawless eyeshadow just for beginners. So I'm going to break it down now. So what I want to accomplish, because I had someone who I know say, you know what, like the thing for me is just getting down eyeshadow. Like actually I've had multiple people say that getting down eyeshadow is the hardest thing, and I agree. Like I'm still learning every day, and I think if you go on my Instagram, I'll put that right here, my Instagram is NATALLIEGee. If you have the time to go back to even like last year or the year before and look at what I was calling eyeshadow looks, you can see the progression. If I was as passionate about makeup as I could be about working out, I'd be so fit, because when I'm bored or when I'm in a mood or when I just have time to play or I buy a new palette, I dive into makeup and I just play with it. I practice. So eyeshadow though, it's one of those things in the beginning, it's hard. Like it will look like crap. Like it's what you can't hide it. Like face makeup, you can kind of hide that it's not going too well. Eyebrows, you can kind of hide that it's not going too well, but eyes show everything. So I really wanted to have something where you guys can reference, and I wanted to break it down detailed so the videos aren't too long. So the first thing that we're gonna start with is a base. So I use MAC Studio Finish Concealer to base my eyeshadow looks. It says corrector on the back, and for me this is in the color NC50. So I use that to base. This is what I'm using right now. This is almost done, which is why I have a brand new one ready to go, because I don't want to be without it. Honestly, I can't even tell you how long I've had this. It lasts forever. I use it to clean up my brows, and I use it as a corrector under my eyes, or you know, if they're ever too dark. And then now I've been using it to base my eyeshadow look. So now it's dwindling down, which is why I bought one, but you need a good base. I do makeup so often, I have the opportunity to try different ones. So I'll just buy something. I've bought from NYX, I've bought from Essence, I've used other concealers, but I find that since I started doing this, nothing compares to you. So I lay this on right up to like right in the crease of my face and right up to my brows. Because I've already cleaned up my brows, it's not a big deal, but it just makes sure that we have a seamless base. Because I use this to also clean my brows, I know that there's a layer of concealer from here to here, so I won't get any weird patchiness or gradients because I'm using the same product all over my eye. So I'm not wearing foundation. I think that all beginners, to be quite honest, this is honestly how I learned, and I felt like this was the easiest. You see a lot of YouTubers who do like eyebrows last, foundation first, then eyebrows, then eyes. To be honest, I feel like that's some professional shit, man. Like if I knew some professional stuff, man, jeez, if I knew how to do that, I swear I would. But I feel like for beginners, it's best to start with your eyebrows. One, because you can, if you mess up, you can start over again. Same thing with eyeshadow. If you mess up, you can start over again. You've done the simplest, not the simplest part, but the parts that, if I do my foundation first and I mess up my eyeshadow, everything has to come off. Like everything that you just did has to come off. Same thing with, if I do my foundation first and I mess up my eyebrows, I can't just wipe off my eyebrow and redo it. So I think for beginners, it's smart to start with the stuff that takes up the least amount of space on your face. That way, if you mess up, you can start over without taking too much off your face that you've already done. And it looks all the same from here to here. So we blend that out. We have a good base to start our eyeshadow now. I set my concealer with Black Opal setting powder. This now gives me a base that is blendable on for the eyeshadows, because now there's powder on top of the concealer. But again, I have a nice clean neutral base. So number 2 with getting flawless eyeshadow is brushes. So these are my eyeshadow brushes. I have some detailed brushes, and I have some fluffy brushes and blending brushes. For brushes, I wouldn't even say it's about having quality brushes, but more so having a variety of shapes. I found that when I had very limited eyeshadow brushes, they could have been Sephora brushes. I had Sephora brushes in the beginning and they weren't getting the job done. So it's not about the quality, it's just about having an array of different shapes. Like this blending brush, these two blending brushes kind of look similar, but they do different things. This one's a little bit more dense and this one's a little bit more loose and fluffy. They're both dirty. So you get two different blending capabilities out of the two brushes. And sometimes the way they blend, the area they blend, it's just different. So I would say it's not even about having expensive brushes, it's more so about having different shapes and sizes so that you can accomplish the look you want to accomplish. I'll tell you the honest truth, most of my brushes are from Amazon. I will link the brushes. I've been meaning to do a video on them, so I'm actually going to do a video on them just so that you guys can see where I get my brushes from. But the majority of the ones that you just saw from Amazon. I spent a total of $30 and I think I got like 5 different brush sets. Quality shadows. So today I'm going to be using my Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. This I would say is probably the highest quality shadow palette I own, and I'm comparing that to like Anastasia Beverly Hills. I have Huda Beauty. I would say, okay, maybe this is kind of close to Huda. This is my favorite eyeshadow palette, and because of the color range in here, I can accomplish any kind of look. And for today, I feel like that's important. I don't want to have to dip into other shadows. I like that I have transition shades in here as well as really bright colors, so it'll make it easier for me. Yeah, I understand, and don't kill me, don't shoot the messenger, but quality shadows will give you a different look than cheap shadows. I would say if you're looking on the cheaper end, the more affordable end of things, I would definitely recommend NYX always. This is not my favorite NYX palette, but there's lots of colors in here, which is why I do like them. But I would say they have a ton of different other shadows. If you like have a NYX store in your neighborhood, I would definitely say hit up a NYX store or order from NYX online. They have so many different options. Again, this is not my favorite. I usually like their individual shadows or their smaller like quads, but this, I love the colors in this shadow palette. Yeah, I would also say on the affordable end of things, BH Cosmetics, I'm like holding these up as if the camera's not super zoomed. BH Cosmetics is also really good. I get mine from Winners here in Canada. You can also order from them online. My favorites for them are the Modern Mattes and the Foil Eyes. So one's basically shimmer, one's matte. My least favorite is the Neutral Eyes. So if you're my complexion or darker, this one doesn't really show up on my skin. So to start with, to start your eyeshadow, you need a transition shade. So that honestly depends on your complexion. I typically use Royal Prerogative for my skin complexion, but if you're fairer than me, you could use Air. I mix in Royal Prerogative and Princess together to get a transition shade. I find that that really works well for me. And then if you're deeper than me, you could use Duchess as a transition shade. The transition shade is key. I used to skip this stuff, but I didn't understand why it was so important. And to be honest, I don't even think that I can put into words why it's so important. But it makes such a difference with how your eyeshadow will blend out in the end. I just pop it into that. Lately, I've been putting it everywhere. So putting it on my eye with the shadow brush. Right now, I'm using a NYX number 16 brush, which is just a blending brush for them. You can get these if you're in Canada at Rexall or in the NYX store. Yes, for eyeshadow, you always want to work lightest to darkest. So you can't just plop or like pack in a darker shade. You need to start with the transition shade or else it just will not blend out. You must have magic hands if you just put on the darkest shade and it works. Now you want to build it up. For the purpose of this video, I will be doing like a crazy colored eyeshadow look just because I feel like it'll make it easier to see what I mean by things will just blend out easier. So my next shade to build it up is going to be this orange shade, which is called Empress. I'm using the same brush I typically do for with my transition shade and my next shade, because the fact that there's a little bit of excess transition shade in there will make it easier to blend out this next shade. So Colored Rain eyeshadows are super pigmented and you just want to build it up. So you want to pack it into your crease and blend it out. Now everyone's eye is different, so some people might have to take this eyeshadow higher and some people might need a more concentrated brush to keep it in a very small area. But I find if your eyes look anything like mine, this is a good brush to kind of just pack it in and blend it out. So with this next shade, we're not bringing it all the way to the inner corner. We're just putting it on the outside. And we're putting it in the crease of our eye, on the outer crease of our eye. We're just packing it in there blending it out between the center of our lid to the end of our lid, where our lid would end out here. Next, I'm gonna take Ladyship, and I'm gonna put that on a smaller blending brush, because with something like this is now your darker color. You want to make sure you start small and work your way up. Blending takes time. I used to think that I could rush through it, or it doesn't take as much time as I thought, and that's false. Like, those are not facts. It literally takes a lot of time sometimes to get what you want it to look like. And just the thing you have to remember is just don't stop until it looks like what you want it to look like. Don't think that it'll fix itself later, because it will not. It honestly will not. It'll do whatever the hell it wants to do. I'm kind of contemplating doing a halo eye because those are my favorite lately, and I feel like with the colors I'm using, it'll make more sense. Just take a blending brush, bring the orange in a little bit more, but lightly. It really doesn't need to be as blown out on the edge. So this is the point in your look where you kind of have to decide what you want to do. That outer shape will always basically be the same for basically any look that you do. But once you're here, you have to kind of decide, okay, so I'm going to do a halo, cut, crease, what's going to happen? Because I need to know where I'm going to take this. Kind of make an outer V with the purple. And then take a more blown out brush like this NYX brush, number 17, and take a little bit of purple and blend the outer V out. If you're doing halo, I'm gonna bring this here. And on a looser blending brush, you see this one's not as tight, I can manipulate it. I'm gonna take Queen Mother. I'm just going to deepen my crease even more. It is a shimmer shadow, but I find that some shimmer shadows can really do, like, make or break your makeup look. I used to be very afraid to add them in to makeup, but now I'm like, oh, that just makes such a difference. It like brings it to life. And now I'm just gonna mix some Ladyship. I think the key to like eyeshadow is just keep blending and keep adding color, as bad as that sounds. And it'll work out. You'll know when to stop, like, you will. I go back and I make sure that that's really prominent, but we don't want to lose that orange shade. So I go back with it, I blend it into my purple. We're just gonna bring our purple shade into the eye. So for halo eyes specifically, MAC Mixing Medium is like my best friend. I just take a little bit of this and I squeeze it on my hand, and then I just place it. It's a clear substance that allows your glitters to kind of stay in place. Colored Rain glitters are super pigmented, but because I'm putting this on a darker color, I like to make sure they're gonna stay where I put them at. And I'm just going to pack that on top. And the nice thing about halo eyes is they're very forgiving. I like to bring mine up to almost like a cut crease. It's beautiful. You then want to do, if we're gonna pretend like I'm wearing foundation or whatever, is match the bottom of your lash line. So take a smaller brush and you want to basically do what you did top to bottom. You don't really need to include transition shades down here, but like for me, I'm gonna put this orange down and especially concentrate Ladyship on the outer. You don't necessarily want to bring the dark color all the way down your eye. you more so, like in the beginning, yes, to blend it together and make sure it's present, but you will cut off your eyes and you kind of want to make your eyes look bigger. I feel like that's kind of the point of eyeshadow.
Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for parts 2 and 3, which includes liner and lashes.